So in front of me on the table here, I have a decent sized stack of comic books. And if you have been watching this channel, you might be thinking that that stack is comprised of a bunch of Marvel books, but you'd be wrong. Only a couple are Marvel. Stay tuned to find out what the rest are. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, I want to show you guys a nice stack of comics that have been picked up and added to my collection. And as I mentioned in the intro, there could be some surprises. Specifically the fact that only a couple of these books are actually Marvel books. That's right. That I read something other than Marvel Comics. There's a couple of really cool things here in front of me, and they're books that I've spoken about before on the channel, but I don't think that I've shown any of these books in at least one case. But one that I have talked about is this one right here. It is Philadelphia from Image Studios. And Rodney Barnes is doing a really fantastic job with this particular series. This is issue number 4. I have not yet read it, but I have read issues 1 through 3. And it is a fun, well, not fun. That's probably not the right word to describe vampires. It is a good story that I find really interesting. And I think several people have actually picked this book up based upon my recommendation, and I do not think that you're going to go wrong if you decide to pick it up. At least issues 1 through 3 have been pretty solid, and I'm hopeful that issue 4 will be solid as well. So Philadelphia from Image Studios. Yes, here are the Marvel books. We might as well knock those out real quick. X-Force, number 8. This one is really good. What's interesting with this one is that Domino is playing a pretty prominent role in X-Force, which is a little unusual, at least from what I remember of Domino. She had a couple of solo series. The most recent solo series wasn't good, but there was an earlier solo series that I actually found pretty fascinating. I want to say it may have been from the 2000s. I actually enjoyed that one. And I'm really enjoying what they're doing with Domino and X-Force. She teamed up in this issue with my man right here, the big Russian. And let's just say there were a lot of dominoes and many of them fail. I don't want to give the story away for you, but I do encourage you to read this if you dig Domino, if you dig X-Force, if you dig the big Russian. You might want to check that book out. It is a good read. The next book is number 7 of XMen. This one was pretty good as well. I finished reading this one earlier today. I enjoyed it. I like what Jonathan Hickman is doing with the X-Men. Apocalypse takes a role that is pretty prominent in this issue, which is really cool versus like how he's been played up until this point. There was a lot of focus early on Charles Xavier. Then there was a lot of focus on Magneto. And now it's kind of Apocalypse's turn to be in the spotlight. And he did pretty well in this particular issue. So I'm not quite sure where this one is going right now. There's a lot that's happening. And I don't know quite yet whether there are some things that Jonathan is setting up for the future or whether he's going to kind of continue telling these stories. So it'll be interesting to see how this one continues to unfold as we get to issues number 8 and beyond. There was a scene in here that was a little bit of a controversial scene between Cyclops and Wolverine. I don't quite know what to make of that exchange thus far. Found it to be strange. Let's just say that, as did many other people out there. One of those controversies that you may have heard me speak about recently if you watched the recent Ready, Set, Go preview show. The next book is this one right here. This is X-Men Fantastic Four number 2. Digging this one. Digging it. Yeah, this one's a good one. This one is a good one. This one was actually set up in like House of X Powers of 10. This fight here, this battle, if you will, was actually set up many months ago, and it's really nice to kind of see it come to fruition. I'm really digging this series. I don't know who the writer is, Zdarsky. Zdarsky's doing an okay job. I historically have found myself a little lost in some of his work. But but I think he's doing a decent job with this one. Hopefully it continues. Hopefully it gets even better, because there's always room for improvement no matter how good something is. Shifting gears, well, not quite. Let's not shift gears. We're going to go to Amazing Spider-Man number 40. This one, the issue number 39, I read it. It wasn't bad. There's a lot of dialogue, not a whole lot of action. I think 40 has a little bit more action, but I have yet to read this one. I've been trying to make some inroads to get into the current volume of Amazing Spider-Man, and the struggle's a little real, but I'm trying. I'm trying to actually read them now, and I'm hopeful that maybe Nick Spencer is able to turn it around and make some magic happen. Fingers crossed. All right, so shifting gear a little bit. This is a Blaze Studios. This is Gung-Ho. I started off reading this one with issue number 1. I enjoyed it. I have yet to read issue 2 and 3. I have both of them, but I have not read them yet. But this was a pretty cool series. When I first started reading issue number 1, I could see that it was going to be pretty good, and I'm hoping to actually read this one this week if I can find a little bit of time. So this is Gung-Ho from Ablaze. And then the next stack of books, the vast majority of this, all of this actually comes from a single title. And it is a single title that you guys actually turned me on to. There was actually a subscriber that encouraged me to actually read this series, and I am very glad that I listened. I'm very thankful that I listened, because I honestly am enjoying this series. And this is issue number 1 of Undiscovered Country. This is a post-apocalyptic, trippy story that I think is really well done. I can honestly see this becoming maybe a streaming service or something like that type of show. I enjoyed it. And in fact, the writers in these issues actually talk about the fact that they're working on a screenplay, because they too believe that there are some possibilities there. Who knows if it's going to happen? I think that every writer worth their salts right now is creating comics with the hope that they can turn those comics into movies or streaming services. And so who knows whether anything could ever materialize from these efforts. But what I will tell you is that this is actually a pretty cool read. It is a trippy read that I enjoyed. And so if you are interested in reading a good story that is a little bit different, this could be one that you get into. If you like Mad Max kind of stuff, Undiscovered Country. This is another issue number 1. This is another variant. I actually picked up a handful of the variants. I liked it that much. This one's actually the second printing. That's actually the second print right there. I think that one I just showed you was a variant. Here is the 4th printing of that book. I picked this one up at the local comic shop. They had it on the shelf, so I went ahead and snagged that. Here is issue number 2. I do not know whether this is cover A or cover B. Let's just assume that that one was cover B. This might be cover A right here. I'm sure you guys will probably correct me if you are actually reading the series. This is, again, issue number 2. Here is issue number 3. I think this one's really cool. That cover is really cool. I dig this one. This is probably one of my favorite out of them all. It is basically the American flag with some actual stars in the sky, and with just remnants of humanity there making up the stripes. Really well done. I enjoyed this book. And then here is issue number 4. And again, I think it's only up to issue number 4 right now. I actually sat down one weekend and actually read all 4 issues. Thoroughly enjoyed it, which is what prompted me to go out and buy it. So there you have it. That is essentially my haul. But I want to encourage you to stay tuned for just a moment, because I have something that you might be interested in. So you may not have noticed that there was something in the background back there. You may notice that it's now missing, and what is missing or not there anymore is this book right here. This is this week's Go Collect giveaway book, and it is Fantastic Four number 45, a 4.5 from CGC. This is the first appearance of Lockjaw and the Inhumans, and this is this week's book. All you have to do in order to win this book is head over to the community tab. Once you're on the community tab, you basically find the post where I'm talking about this particular book. You plug in 3 pieces of information. 2 pieces of information are relevant to you, and one of them is a phrase that I'll give you in just a moment. You plug that phrase in, and then you're in the running. You then tune in to the Ready, Set, Go preview show and find out if you're the winner. The requirements for the giveaway is that you be a subscriber of the channel, a resident of the United States or of Canada, or have a mail-in address in the US. That is essentially it. And this book, which is a really cool book, could actually be yours. When you head over to the community tab, you may have to scroll down on the page in order to find the post. But trust me when I tell you that it's there. I confirmed it earlier today, so it is there. And all you have to do is look for it. There will be a blue link for MailChimp in the active post. You click it, you plug in your information, and then you tune into the Ready, Set, Go preview show and find out if you're the winner. The show airs on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. The phrase that you need is crystal. Crystal. One word is the phrase. You plug that in, and this book could be yours. If you need me, feel free to reach out to me at Regie Collects on Instagram. And if you're feeling frisky, head over to my website, regiecollects.com. Take care.